Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm here to make a video for final project of poetry appreciation. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Ghea Fitri with ID student 332100056, and my class is 33 4A02. And this is my table of contents. The first one is the poem. The second is my analysis about the intrinsic and the extrinsic elements. And the third is my analysis about the result of elaborate the poem. And the last is my poem that contains the aspect of simile and metaphor. The first one is the poem. Out by Robert Frost. The bus saw snarled and rattled in the yard. It met dust and dropped soft lengths thick of wood. Sweet scented stuff when the breeze drew across it, and from there those that lifted eyes that could count 5 mountain ranges, one behind the other, under the sunset far into firmament, and it saw snarled and rattled, as it were in line, or had to bear alone. And nothing happened. It was all but done. Call it a day. I wish they might have said, to please the boy by giving him the half hour that a boy counts so much when safe from work. His sister stood beside him in her apron to tell them supper. At the word, the sow, as if the probe sow knew what supper meant, leaped out at the boy's hand, or seemed to leap. He must have given the hand. However it was, neither refused the meeting. But the hand! The boy's first outcry was a rueful laugh, as he swung toward them holding up the hand, half in appeal, but half as if to keep the life from spilling. Then the boy saw all, since he was old enough to know big boy doing man's work, though a child at heart. He saw all spoiled. Don't let him cut my hand off, the doctor, when he comes. Don't let him, sister. So, but the hand was gone already. The doctor put him in the dark of heather. He lay and puffed his lips out with his breath, and then the watcher at his pulse took fright. No one believed. They listened at his heart. Little less nothing, and that ended it. And this is my analyze for that poem. The first one is intrinsic elements. Speakers and point of view. The speaker in the poem is omniscient and provides an objective account of the events. The point of view is third person, allowing the reader to observe the situation from a detached perspective. Next is structure and form. The poem consists of a single stanza with 35 lines, following a lost iambic pentameter pattern. The irregular rhyme scheme contributes to the poem's conversational and narrative tone. Next is tone and mood. The tone of the poem is somber, reflecting the tragic event depicted. The mood shifts from the peaceful scene at the beginning to a sense of foreboding and shock, culminating in a feeling of sorrow and loss. Next is imagery. First employs imagery to evoke the setting and create a sense of atmosphere. The buzzing and rattling of soul, the dust, the sweet scent of the wood, and the sunset over the mountains all contribute to the sensory experience of the scene. And the last is symbolism. The basalt can be seen as a symbol of both industry and destructive power of nature. It represents in the indifference of the world to individual lives and highlights the abstractness and finality of that. And the next is the extrinsic elements of the poem. First one is context. Robert Frost's poetry often explores the relationship between humanity and nature. Out was published in 19 and 16 and reflects the poet's observation of rural life and harsh realities of labor. Second is allusions. The poem alludes to Shakespeare's play Macbeth with the title, which is taken from the famous line, out brief candle, spoken by Macbeth upon the news of Lady Macbeth's death. This reference underscores the fleeting nature of life and the suddenness of its extinguishment. The third is biographical influences. Cross personal experiences growing up on a farm in rural New England influenced his portrayal of the natural world and the hard labor of rural communities. The poem may reflect his own encounters with accident and the fragility of life. And the last is social commentary. The poem can be interpreted as a critique of a society that values work over the well-being and safety of individuals, especially children. It highlights the tragedy of a young boy losing his hands in a momentary lapse of attention while performing adult labor. And then this is my analysis about the elaborate, and this is my result. The message of out revolves around the suddenness and fragility of life, the indifference of nature, and the tragic consequences of a society that values work over human well-being. The poem begins by describing the buzzing and rustling of a sow in the yard, creating a scene of productive labor and the natural beauty of the surroundings. However, the poem takes a dark turn when the sow unexpectedly cut his cut the hand of a young boy who was working with it. The boy's initial reaction is a rueful laugh, showing his disbelief and shock. He desperately appeals to his sister not to let the doctor amputate his hand, but is already late. The doctor administers either to the boy, but his condition rapidly deteriorates until he ultimately dies. The poem's message lies in its portrayal of the abruptness and unpredictability of death, as well as the insignificance of individual lives in the face of nature's indifference. The buzzing sound symbolizes both human industry and the destructive force of nature, highlighting the contrast between the boy's youthful vitality and the ruthless machinery. The boy's louder half appeal and attempt to hold up his hand symbolize his instinctual fight for life and the desperate attempt to prevent his life from spilling. However, his efforts are in vain, and his life is extinguished in a mere moment. The poem also offers social commentary, criticizing, criticizing a society that disregards the safety and well-being of its children. The boy is performing work that is beyond his physical capabilities and age, highlighting the exploitation and neglect of child labor. The poem implies that the boy's life could have been spared if the adults had shown more concern and allowed him the simple pleasure of a half-hour break from work. Ultimately, Out served as a reminder of the fleeting nature of life, the tragic consequences of a society that prioritizes work over humanity, and the ruthless indifference of the natural world. It prompts reflection on the value of human life and the need for compassion and empathy in the face of our mortality. And the last is This is my poem, which has or contain the simile and metaphor. In the heart of the city lives a bustling hive, a symphony of cars honking, buzzing like waves alive. The streets are rivers, flowing with a constant stream, as people rush like schools of fish in a gleaming train. The sun, a golden disk, hangs in the sky, casting its warm rays like a mother's lullaby. The buildings stand tall, reaching for the heavens high, their windows like eyes, observing passers-by. Love is a fragile butterfly, fluttering with grace, its wings delicate as silk, an enchanting embrace. But time, a thief in the night, steals you away, leaving memories like faded flowers in shades of gray. Hope is a beacon, shining in the darkest night, guiding lost souls like a lighthouse radiant light. Dreams are shit, planted in fertile mind, nurtured by determination they bloom and unwind. Life is a journey, an ever-changing time. Sometimes a storm where we struggle through it, but amidst the tempest, we find strength and will, emerging as warriors, our dreams to fulfill. In this grand tapestry of existence we weave, symbols and metaphors, the language we live. They paint vivid pictures, emotions they convey, enriching our poetry in each and every way. I think that's all for me. Thank you for listening. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.